This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Today's podcast is 15 key concepts in building a business. And we hope you enjoy this and you find something in it that you find useful or inspirational for your own business interest. First is, we're a big believer in niche-centric and not trying to be all things to all people. The more that you could focus on specific niches in whatever you're doing, the smaller pond you'll be fighting in, and the more likely you develop expertise and strength. So we're a huge fan in really building business around niches versus building big, broad, general businesses, just how we've always approached things and had success. Second, we think about customer-centric, that you have to divide and segment your customers into the most important customers, the 20% that drive 80% of your business. And you have to be so focused on doing everything you can to keep those customers thrilled, to keep those customers happy, and try and make that your sort of your mantra is taking care of those customers. The third concept is, we're a huge believer that in every business, it's really built around your team, and you can't go very far by yourself. The story of the iconoclastic entrepreneur, I think, is way, way overrated. Almost everything in business is done with great teams and great people. So we think about spending so much time building terrific teams and understanding who your teams are and growing around those teams. The fourth concept we talk about in business often, and it's different than customer centric, but it's an important note, is product market fit. You ultimately need a product that fits a niche that people want, that they really need. There's a great concept that Lean-Tos talks about often. Do we have something that's nice to have, or that somebody really wants and needs to have? And they're two very different things. You need to find something that people really need to have, that they really need versus they kind of think is a good thing. Two very different things. The fifth concept we talk about is scalability. We often talk about building businesses from in a funnel, from idea to actual product to revenues to profits to scalability. At the end of the day, it very much depends on what you're trying to do, but is there a way to make 1 + 1 3? Is there a way to scale where for every effort put in, there's not an exact output, but rather you get to a spot where you're able to scale a business without so many additional efforts by pushing the right levers? But are there scalability concepts? The sixth thing we talk about in building a business is clarity of goals. You start to define very clearly, what is your business doing? What are you great at? What are you really trying to accomplish? Versus sort of a soft sort of version of that. Seventh, at some point, you've got to have an obsession with actually be great at what you're doing. We think it's very hard to be partially in. You've ultimately got to be all in, and you got to decide that you really want to be great at what you're doing, that you're trying to be special, not just average, and that ultimately you're really taking care of customers or products and your people in a very special way. Eighth, we talk about often the evolution of the founder and leader in companies. Leaders often start out, as the old adage goes, as chief cook, bottle washer. They sort of do everything. And over time, they've got to be really good at letting go and bringing in great people that do the things they used to do and ultimately do them better than they do them. We talk multiple times in different places about the evolution of a founder, and that's sort of part of this, and this is just a short form of it, but ultimately hiring people that are better than the founder in all the different areas, and that's when you really start to see magic happen in companies. Ninth, we're a huge believer in building cultures of gratitude, truly thankful to your team members, truly thankful to your customers, because they're at the end of the day, the reason for being in business is in people could feel whether you care about them or not, whether you're thankful or not. And I think it has to be sincere, but you really have to take the mindset of really thankful for our customers that trust us, really thankful for the people that work with us, that go along with us on the journey. So a real culture of gratitude. 10th, and I think this is fascinating, it's the people that are great in business really know their own business. They both know their industry and they know their business. And they're two different things. You know your own business, your own people, what drives the company, who is great, what customers are very important. Then you know your industry really well as well. So know your own business. An 11th concept is, and it sort of goes hand in hand with this concept we talked about earlier about clarity of goals. You need to have a clear plan and be open to pivots, but you need to be clearly going, here's what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to sell this or do this or create that. And then over time, as you know your business so well, you understand the small pivots you need to make to keep relevant and keep on going in the right direction. We think it's very, very important, but it does start with a clear plan and then making pivots. The 12th concept is, we're a big believer in the 80-20 rules and applying them constantly to people and customers. And this goes along with the concept of really knowing your business. You've got to be in a spot where you know your people, you know the important ones are, you double down, pour the coals after those people that are very important. And it's very similar with customers. It's knowing who your very important customers are. The 13th thing we talk about in business, in core business concepts, is this concept of knowing where your profits and your revenues are coming from. I can't tell you the amount of business owners that don't really have clarity about, these are my important customers, these are important services, these are important service lines. And at the end of the day, if you got 10 service lines, generally you're going to keep on pouring time and energy and people into the 2 or 3 service lines that generate 80% of the profits. And you're going to keep on paying tremendous attention to your core customers, those customers that generate the huge percentage of the profits. And it's an important discipline, and it's not easy, but critical to keep the focus on what's important versus what's not. The 14th concept we talk about in business is, it's this combination of success. Great companies have great systems, but they also have great people in those systems. Once in a while, you'll have a team or a company constantly talk about their process and their systems. And we think that's important, but it can never be understated how important it is to have really great people within those systems. It's a combination of great systems and great people that leads to greatness. Finally, the 15th point we'll talk about is that great companies know what they're great at, and they keep on doubling and tripling down on building teams and building resources and strengths in the areas that they know they have to be great in. They know what their core competencies are, and quite frankly, they'll often go ahead and outsource everything outside of their core competencies. So that's our thought today. 15 concepts on building a business. We hope you enjoy this. Again, feel free at any time to text Scott Becker 773-766-5322. We're so thankful for your listening to the Becker Private Equity Podcast. Always feel free, if you're the first 2 people that text us that you listen to this one, 15 concepts on building a business, hit our Amazon gift certificate. Thank you for listening to the Becker Private Equity Business Podcast. Thank you.